Welcome everybody, welcome back to Homestead Hearts. And y'all, I am still in the kitchen, but I'm getting ready to shut it down for the evening. It has been a long day. I have been on my feet all day and I am ready to shut it all down, y'all. But before I do, I am gonna go ahead and answer a question that I have been getting a lot of. But in particular, I'm only gonna do it for this video, answering that question. Mrs. H, what are y'all gonna do with all those bell pepper? Many of you saw the bell pepper harvest when we were in the garden, and you saw just how much we had. I mean, we were using milk crates to harvest our bell pepper, and I think we ended up with like 4 of the little square milk crates full of bell pepper, maybe 4.5, something like that, full of bell pepper. And you all were saying, what are you gonna do with all of those bell pepper? Well, number one, we're gonna eat them. And number two, I'm gonna show you exactly how I preserved all of them. Now, first and foremost, I am going to start off by saying that this video is going to be a sponsored video by Azure Standard, you all. And the reason why I am mentioning Azure in this video is because a lot of you say we don't have the space to grow all of those bell pepper. But even though you may need them, you don't have the space to grow all of the peppers that we grow. We had 2 very large rows or long rows full of bell pepper, and the reason being is because I use it in everything. I have something on the stove, or maybe in the stove right now, that I'm always using my bell peppers for. Okay, so to answer your question, what are you gonna do with them? We're gonna eat them. How do I preserve all of my bell peppers? So let me show you. Here they are right here. Look at these. I'm gonna grab the 2 big jars so y'all can see. Look at these jars. See that? Those 4 crates of bell pepper, this is them right here. These 2 jars here, and these 2 jars right here. So I got 3 half-gallon jars and 1 quart-size jar. This is all green bell pepper. Now they look different for a reason. So when I use my chopper to chop up my bell pepper, I have a chopper that has very small grates on it, and that's why the peppers are so tiny on the inside, because once you put them in the dehydrator, of course they're gonna shrink down even more. So my dehydrator was loaded with bell pepper. But once they dehydrated, and the tray could have been jam-packed, but once they dehydrate, they're like little crumbs on those trays, right? So you can see how small those peppers are on the inside. This has been vacuum sealed, okay? And I'm going to talk to you all about my vacuum sealer that I'm using now in another video, but I love that thing. And we're going to talk about it in another video. But this is how, now, and this right here, you all, now the beauty, I think this is the one, yeah. So now this one right here has some where they will cut into like small strips. I do them different ways for different reasons, okay? But they will cut into smaller strips. And then I have these that were used on a larger grate of my chopper. The grate was much larger than the little bitty fine one. It was a little bit, the grid was a little bit wider. And so when these dehydrated down, they look kind of like so in the jar. They're a lot bigger than those, okay? Now, that's how I'm able to get so much in a jar, because of the way I'll chop them. Some of them I'll chop them really fine. Some of them I'll chop them in bigger squares, and others I'll just kind of, you know, do not necessarily like just a slice. It's really what it is, like a half slice is what it would be. But this is where all of those peppers went. See the larger pieces? And it's just a mix of red, yellow, and green bell pepper all in one jar. All right. Now you all, this one of my jars isn't closed. This one is not closed. I love the way they smell. Y'all smelled it? Smelled it. Y'all smell it? That smell good, don't it? Mm-hmm. I love the way they smell. But as you can see, you see how large some of the pieces are here? Because of the way that we chop them, we cut them all a little different, right? And they're very hard, okay? They're very, very hard. I could break this. But we cut them differently because I'll use the different sizes for different things. And I love the way they smell. Let me back up. I love the way they smell. Look at that. But these are some beautiful bell peppers. And so all 4 of those crates are in these 3. So I have 1 gallon here, a half a gallon here, and then the quart jar here. And they've all been vacuum sealed. Now, when I vacuum seal them, I don't put in an oxygen absorber. And the reason why I don't put in an oxygen absorber is because I'm using them, right? I use a lot of these, right? And so, like if they were gonna last me longer than a year, I would drop in an oxygen absorber in the jar, and then I would still vacuum seal it if I wanted it to last me longer than a year. But my peppers never last me a year. And in fact, I was telling, my friend that it seemed like no matter how many I dehydrate, it seems like I just never have enough bell pepper because I use them in everything. Now, the one thing I'll say about these bell pepper here is that I take these out when I'm getting ready to use them. If I'm going to use them in something that doesn't have a lot of liquid in it, I will take however much out I want to take out. If I'm going to use these small peppers like this, literally 3 tablespoons or so is like a bell pepper. 3 tablespoons when they're that fine is 1 bell pepper. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's about 1 bell pepper. These are a bit more. These are about 1/4 cup of each one of these, or maybe depending on how large I chop them, it could be as much as 1/2 cup. That would equal 1 bell pepper. All right. So in all of these jars, all of my peppers, I will take out the amount that I want, and I'll be honest, I don't measure. This one is not sealed. I'll be honest, I do not measure. I literally just take it and just pour out in my hand what I want in my food, and then I put it in there. So if I'm doing soups and stuff, once the water is boiling, then I'll just take out what I want and drop it in my soup and put a lid on. And yes, they rehydrate very well. They're nice and tender once they get in your soups or stews or whatever you're using them for. But Mrs. H, what if I want to use them for some eggs or something like that? We do that all the time. Or any other dish that you just want to put in some bell pepper. We will take out what we want. We will put it in a bowl of hot water and give them about 20 minutes. And in 20 minutes, they're ready to go in whatever dish. 20 to 30 minutes. I just pop them in a bowl with some hot water and forget about them until I'm ready to use them. And again, it's about 20 to 30 minutes. And then I drain the water off, or either I'll use the water depending on what I'm cooking them, or what I'm using them for. I may save the water, or I just may drain it off. And then I'll put them in whatever I'm cooking, and they taste absolutely amazing. Now, why don't I freeze dry them? That's a very good question. I don't freeze dry them because I can't get nowhere near the amount in my jars. See, when you freeze dry them, if I were to chop these up, when I freeze dry them, they're not going to shrink. They're going to maintain their size. And so that prohibits me from being able to use the space that I have wisely, right? I have to be able to use my little space wisely because I don't have a lot. So I have to be able to get as much as I can into one container. And so that is the reason why I choose to dehydrate, because that works best for me and my space. Okay, but if you have the space in a freeze dryer, then you can freeze dry. But of course, you know, you won't be able to get the amount in these jars like what we have. This is a lot here, okay? So like I said, this is 4 crates of those bell peppers plus some in here. This is all of those crates right here. That's all I got from all of those bell peppers. So it may seem like a lot, but you know, we grow our bell pepper to last us for an entire year so that we don't have to buy bell pepper. When I make my farina dressing, I use my dehydrated bell peppers. I don't go buy bell peppers and stuff like that. It's the same thing as, to me, the flavor and everything. It's the same as buying a fresh bell pepper. They taste just as good. They taste great, actually. So I love doing them this way. In fact, I don't think I save any fresh bell pepper at all when I bring them in. I don't put them in the freezer. This is what I do, you all. I dehydrate them all. But again, to kind of speak into Mrs. H, we don't have the space to grow that many peppers, but we do like to, we would like to have that amount. And that's why I'm mentioning Azure Standard in this video, because you can actually go to Azure Standard and you can purchase as much bell pepper as you like. You can purchase them, right, by the weight. They'll tell you on the website what the weights are, so you'll be able to purchase your organic bell peppers, and you can get them home, freeze them, freeze dry them, or you can dehydrate them like I do. And my dehydrator is the Excalibur 9 tray, and I think I have that Excalibur in our Amazon shop. So what I'm going to do is I will put the link to Azure Standard down in the description box below. You will also, if you're new to Azure, you can use the promotion code down below, and you will also get a savings from your first order. And even if you're not new to Azure, you can still use our code down below, and that just lets Azure know that we referred you, and that helps our channel as well, you all. And it don't cost you all anything additional. It just helps us out as well. All right. So now, you all, if you are concerned about the space for having so much bell pepper, hopefully you found this video helpful and you found this as a wonderful option. That Excalibur 9 tray dehydrator, it is a bit pricey, but you don't have to get that one. They have Nesco, they have different brands of dehydrators that you can choose from that may be more budget friendly, right? So my dehydrator, I love it because it's large, and I do a lot of large batches of dehydrating. So that really is what I need. I've had it for a long time. I think I told y'all my daughter bought that for me for a Mother's Day gift years ago, and I still have it and I still use it and I love it, right? So you all, that's gonna do it. I hope you found this video helpful on Mrs. H. What are you gonna do with all those bell pepper? Now you know. Now you know what Mrs. H does with all those bell pepper. And believe it or not, we still have one final harvest in the garden, all that hasn't been burned up by the heat. We still have one final harvest. I'm not sure what we're gonna get that's out there, but whatever we get, I'll be bringing it in and dehydrating it. And I'm hoping to at least get another gallon of the bell pepper, because they never seem to last me from one year to the next. I always end up having to go back to Azure and order what I need so that I can continue to have bell pepper to dehydrate to use until I'm able to grow them again. All right, y'all. So again, if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give our video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that we upload to our channel. And thank you all again for watching Homestead Heart. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you, and I'm going to see y'all in the next video.